Hi, it's Mr. Rowe from Creative Build. I have many more unique videos planned, so click subscribe if you like this one. So I want to show you what I believe is the simplest, least expensive, and fastest to build propane burner that I've seen anywhere on YouTube or elsewhere. Somebody said they didn't really believe me, so I'm going to prove it. I'm going to do something, I'm going to assemble one here in real time. So first I'm going to show you all the parts. So I decided to put all the parts and pieces at the end of the video along with all of the drilling and tapping information, and we're going to go right into my first attempt, and I'm going to explain why it's my first attempt. So I didn't realize it at the time, but I'm making a mistake here. I wanted to keep everything in the camera shot, so I normally would have done that hole right there with a drill press. But I actually learned something about how the burner works. So this is the first time I didn't use a drill press to drill the hole for the MIG weld tip. And what I discovered is the propane shooting out of the MIG weld tip is creating a Venturi effect that's sucking the air into the mixing chamber. But if you don't have it centered properly, you're not going to have as efficient of burn. So even though you see I finished it at 7 minutes and 21 seconds, it's kind of a disappointing result. So the flame is a little disappointing, but it's definitely working. You might have to do a little bit of troubleshooting here to see what we can do to improve that. I didn't end up with the weld tip exactly in the middle, and I think that's what's causing the problem. If you look at one that I've made previously, it's dead nuts in the middle. So I guess that means I have to do it again, and maybe I can do it faster this time. Okay, here we go. We're going to start the timer, and we're going to drill a hole in the center this time. So basically I'm grinding a flat spot on top of the fitting so the drill bit doesn't wander as I start to drill the hole. Nice flat spot to start on. I'm going to measure this. I'm using a vernier caliper to find the center of the fitting, but I'm sure a tape measure would work just fine. Already a minute's gone and I haven't even done anything yet. So this is a 5/16 18. I'm using machine tap here. They have 3 flutes. A hand tap has 4. Okay, now this is a little tricky. Put the tip in. Because you have to fish it through this hole. Well, that started actually pretty easy that time. Now I want to tighten this up, if I remember, after I weld. Because the metal will expand and then you can tighten up the fitting just a hair more. Okay, so now reducer bushing. I'll try and center that on there, but it's not actually all that important. So just to clarify, the MIG weld tip needs to be centered exactly. The reducer bushing, it doesn't matter as long as it's sealed all the way around so the propane flows through the MIG weld tip. A little bit of struggling here because I'm trying to keep everything in within the camera shot. So obviously you want to make sure that there's no leak here. Probably a pressure test would be a wise idea, but I'm not going to do that today. A pressure test is a great idea if you're not confident in the welds, just to ensure there's no propane leakage around the reducer bushing. So like I was saying, while that's hot, snug this guy up. A little bit of helmet head going on there. Okay, now just put it together. So I just want to point out that under 4 minutes, the mixing chamber is complete. Now all of these should be snugged up after it's hot too. So I'm not using any tight thread because it will obviously melt. Okay, so normally you would wait until this cooled down. I'm just going to put a little oil on it just to help it. I know it's not the best for the weld. So I immediately regretted doing that. Not because I don't think it's going to affect the weld. It was already cool enough that it's not going to, affect the structure of the weld. But it just made a lot of smoke. Feel free to argue amongst yourselves about that. So now I'm just going to hook up the ball valve in the propane tank using Teflon on all the fittings. So FYI, the propane tank is set at 30 psi. So that is a good looking flame. So I'm quickly going to swap out the nozzle to the 4-inch pipe with the union on one end and put it on top of my forge. I plan on making a video showing a no weld version of this forge. The bell reducer that's in this forge, I use a carbide burr and ground off the threads, but I think the jury's out whether or not that really improves the flame. And just remember too, this mixing chamber, I just made it less than 10 minutes ago. So now we're going to go back to explaining the parts and pieces. So I just have a standard, this is a 1/4-inch ball valve. A lot of people get like a high pressure or a propane one, but you should be using the tank to shut off the propane. This is just a quick shut off of the burner. We have a 1/4 pipe nipple, and this is a 1/4 to 3/8 reducer bushing. Actually, that's a 1/4 to 1/2 reducer bushing, buddy. Then we have a 1-inch regular black pipe T. This is a 0.30 MIG weld tip.
That's .030 MIG weld tip.
10-inch by 1-inch MPT pipe, and then a 1-inch to 1.25-inch bell reducer. So these are all the tools we're going to need. This one actually does require some welding, but there's so little welding that if you don't have a buddy, or if you can't weld, or somebody that has a welder, I'm sure a machine shop or weld shop, they'd probably almost do it for free because it's so little welding required. And then all the other tools we'll need, just some basic tools and a drill. So what we're going to do is drill and tap a hole for the MIG weld tip, and that for my MIG welder, my MIG weld tip is 5/16 18 national course, and the tap drill for that you see right there is 17/64. I actually have a letter set, so officially it's a letter F bit, but they're pretty much the same. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to show you, I had to have a 10-inch pipe made up. If you just want to grab something off the shelf, you just get a couple 4-inch and a union, and away you go.
That's a coupler, not a union.
The other thing is to try and avoid the galvanized, unless you want your know-it-all buddy to tell you that you're going to get poisoned or whatever. It probably isn't going to, but I'm sure there'll be an online debate about that. But try and get the black pipe. Okay, and I'm going to go make it now.
I have many more unique videos planned, so click subscribe if you like this one.